Welcome, dear students. This session introduces the syntax of South Asian English. I hope and expect that by the end of this session, you would be able to distinguish how South Asian English is different from other standard varieties of English, such as British English or American English, in terms of syntax. Well, my dear students, in recent years, there has been a growing interest in exploring the syntax of South Asian Englishes, especially, Indian English and Pakistani English. Previously, if we look back at the linguistic history, I think we can realize that most of the times when it came to finding similarities and differences between Pakistani or Indian varieties, or for that matter, South Asian varieties of English with the other varieties of English, the focus used to be on pronunciation or on vocabulary or on meaning. So, the studies were from the phonological or semantic perspectives. However, recently there is a growing interest in comparing and contrasting the syntax, in exploring what are the features of, syntactic features, I would say, of South Asian English. When it comes to IVEs, that are the indigenous varieties of English, existing descriptions of indigenous varieties of English cover only small areas of, lexicon or morphology or phonological structures, and do not actually pay much attention to what we call syntax. Well, when we look at the syntax, actually, in comparison with the standard varieties, British variety and the American variety, there are some variations that we find in the South Asian variety of English, and the sub-varieties of South Asian English, for example, Indian English or Pakistani English, they differ from the standard varieties in certain ways. Probably the expressions that are used to create certain syntactic structures in Indian English or Pakistani English, they would not be considered grammatically incorrect. But, they are not probably considered to be quite idiomatic. They are not considered to be part of the idiom of the language, how language is used in these areas of first language users of English, that is the British and the American speakers. Here I have some examples where, you would find differences in, the syntax, and, of course, some references to morphology you would find. First example here is, since her birth, she has been under the hands of men. This expression, this under the hands of men, this is not, I would not say it is grammatically incorrect, but again, this is not the regular idiom of English. Actually, in Pakistani and Indian context, when it is used, it means under the hands of men means subservient to men. Women in this country have come very forward, this use of forward. As, if I literally translate it in Urdu, इस सेंचुरी में, इस सदी में ख़वातीन बहुत आगे आ गई हैं. This आगे आना is literally translated as come very forward. Another example is, the present woman knows her rights. The present woman, आज की औरत is literally translated, though the idiomatic expression in English, standard English is not like that. Above half are conservatives. Above half, आधे से ज़्यादा. This is how, the Pakistani and Indian varieties of English use the expression above half, though it is not a part of the standard British and American varieties. Another very interesting distinction that we can make is when it comes to syntax and, how different expressions are used to convey meanings in that syntax, is the choice of see and look. Look at the examples. If we see only in the direction of art and literature, now this choice. Notice the second choice. Now look the difference between whatsoever, Actually, it should be if we look at, or if we look in the direction. But here see is used, and here now see the difference should have been used, but here look is used. It is, vice versa as it should have been used. Another distinctive feature is when house is used for home. Women came out of the house for studying. Actually, this came out of the house is a complete, syntactic structure that is a deviation from the regular standard English. Another example is of legs for feet. She can stand on her legs and face the society. Again, the Urdu idiomatic expression where, we say, apni taangon par khade hona, apne paon par khade hona, actually, this is how it is used in Urdu. It is translated here literally, standing on her own legs. This expression is not found in British or American English. When it comes to the use of even and also, again, the subcontinent varieties of English, and in fact, the whole South Asian English differs in that. For example, in our country, even women also encourage. Even and also. Notice the use of both here. Even India is also changing. So, bringing both the expressions together in one sentence on one string of the syntactic structure. Even in these days also, this is done like that. So, whatsoever is the continuation of the sentence. But what you need to notice is the use of even and also together in one syntactic string. Another difference that we notice is of discourse adverbials. Like this, the position of women has been changing. Now, this expression. Like this, you would find how it happens. This expression, like this, is not a standard British or American expression. Like this, she lived, is another example. When it comes to grammar, well, there are a few characteristics that are shared by all the South Asian users of English language. Especially when it comes to question formations, you would notice to form information questions without changing the position of subject and auxiliary items in the sentence. I think it would be clearer if I show you some examples. Notice these, in fact, two examples on the slide. The first example is what you would like to eat. The second is where you would like to go. So, this is how generally we, Pakistanis and Indians both speak. Whereas, if you compare it with standard British or American varieties, actually, what would you like to eat or where would you like to go are the regular, standard, acceptable expressions. Another very interesting distinctive feature is the use of reduplication. Reduplication is kind of repetition, notice this. Hot, hot coffee. She served me hot, hot coffee, which actually means very hot coffee. Small, small things. I am not bothered by small, small things, which means I am not bothered by very small things. To give, crying, crying, again, these kind of expressions are a part of regular usage of language in the South Asian context. Another distinctive feature is the use of verb aspect. The use of present progressive with stative verbs is quite common in South Asian languages, especially in the Indian and Pakistani varieties of language. Notice the example that you see here. I am having an aunt in Chicago. I am having. This use of progressive form is only a feature of the English that is used in the South Asian region, especially in the subcontinent. I have. This would be the, instead of this am having, this would be the regular expression in any standard variety of English outside this region. I'm loving it. I hope you can recall the McDonald's advertisement that says, "I'm loving it." You know, this is how advertisements are localized as well. Again, instead of "I love it," "I'm loving it" is used where a present progressive form is used that otherwise is not, used in standard varieties. "I'm having a cold." This is yet another example that Kachro has quoted. I have a cold, not I am having a cold. But I'm having a cold is quite acceptable in the South Asian varieties because it is used frequently. I hope that this would inspire you to do further study in the syntax of South Asian languages, and you would be able to compare further features that differ between the South Asian variety and the British variety of English, or between the South Asian variety and the American variety of English, particularly with the focus on syntax.